Sporty greetings to all of our Voice of America listeners and viewers. I'm Mukbil Yabaro, joined by Jackson Fugani. This is On Goal with Sunny and Mukbil. We are filling in for Sunny on this very last episode of On Goal. Jackson, talk to me about the exciting World Cup finale. How to
My
finish off
God.
with a bang.
Hey, this was the best World Cup final I've watched ever, and I'm not kidding about that. Honestly, yesterday, right after the game, I was just like in my living room by myself, screaming at the TV. I could not believe what I was watching. The best soccer ever. And I know the game has evolved and it has progressed, but man, I did not expect to see this caliber of football right before my eyes in my lifetime. I'm not exaggerating, people. This was great soccer, the great finale. I mean, both teams, France, Argentina, they brought out their best. This is what soccer is made about. This is what the finals are about. And, kudos to both teams. They gave us a great game.
Man, honestly, I couldn't have said it better myself, Jackson. I feel like, having both Messi and Mbappe, two megastars from PSG, to both then come out and really show us the game that we've been waiting for. When you hear Argentina and France, it's these are two heavy hitters. These aren't your smaller teams, so you really expect to see,
Right. On the side note, how does it feel for the guy who owns PSG to see that his big ballers are the ones like who are creating that type of excitement on the global stage of that level? What do you think about your investment? You know what I'm saying?
Jackson, who are you telling? Amar Tamim, man, if I were him, honestly, I could not write a better script. Just think about this, right? Let's set the stage. You have Hollywood, right? Hollywood writes down somewhere the World Cup is going to be held in your country.
Yeah.
And the top two players from your club team are going to be the main headliners. And then on top of that, they both score
And they
multiple
create
goals.
magic. They create magic. It was not an ordinary World Cup finale. Honestly, it was not ordinary. But on let's just give it up also to Qatar for having organized one of the best tournaments ever, like one of the best from even better than South Africa, even better than Brazil. I'm not trying to compare or anything, but this in many ways was very very well organized. I know there was a lot of politics right before the games started, a lot of issues spoken that are not were not really about the game itself. And they were able to look past that and organize a very successful event. So kudos and shout out and the sunny side salute to Qatar for having organized a very beautiful World Cup.
Man, honestly, Jackson, I couldn't agree more. I've definitely heard, we've seen it on socials. So many different peoples from different walks of life have come to that tournament and have said that they have been to maybe one, two, maybe even three different World Cups. And this was one of the most family friendly. It was an amazing event. People didn't really have to worry about too much. So safety was very important. Plus, to me, one of the key things was that the 12 stadiums were all within 1 hour of each other. That is
Mm.
huge, right? So we,
Logistics is key. Logistics is key because I know so many in the past where people used to complain, fans were complaining about finding the stadium itself, finding access to the stadium and things of that nature. This time, I don't know whether I think those some of the considerations while they were planning out this World Cup. The infrastructure obviously was impeccable, world-class infrastructure. They invested a lot, and you can tell sometimes people invest a lot in something, but and they invest in the design, but the usability usually is not something they think about. In this case, I think Qatar ticked all the different circles on how to organize a successful tournament.
No, definitely, Jackson. I would agree. I think they did have a little bit of an advantage considering when they had won the lottery to host the World Cup that there was no infrastructure set up yet, right? So, with that being said,
Yeah,
you
blank
s-
slate.
you can start it off with a clear slate, and then
Yeah,
all of a sudden, make sure that every complaint that people have mentioned in the past is something that you can kind of tick off. So
absolutely.
I definitely
Also
agree with
doesn't
you.
hurt- It also doesn't hurt that you have billions of dollars in, you know what I'm saying? Like Qatar is not a very poor country, so.
Right, right.
And they were, again, they were able to plan it well. Sometimes you might have the resources, but you don't have the skills to plan out on how to organize a tournament. But gotta give it up to them.
Man, how about when Messi is receiving his Golden Ball award, right? And the Emir of Qatar puts on this, this cultural garment called the bisht, which is
Uh,
really like it's almost like a crowning, right? A lot of Middle Easterners, they wear it to their weddings and
yeah,
like, to their events when they really want to, showcase almost like this royalty, regal type of feeling, right? So
beautiful symbolism.
Messi just, having played, his jersey still has some grass stains on it. He
Yeah,
he
yeah.
puts this on him and he goes and celebrates and grabs the trophy.
Uh,
You know,
it
who,
was,
who would have thought, Messi, one of the greatest players of all time, um, wins the Golden Ball and the World Cup at Qatar, in the Middle East and wearing the bisht. Now that's going to be a meme, running around in the Arab communities for years to come.
the cultural symbolism on that is just too heavy to even comprehend right now.
Right.
That's what is going to be to live on in memory. 10 years, 20 years from now, we'll be talking about this World Cup,
Yeah,
especially the finals.
I agree. I agree. You know how it is. Sometimes things just take on a life of its own. In a couple years, people will say, that was the first Saudi Arabian player to win the World Cup that plays for Argentina.
By the way, I don't know if you see me, I'm wearing my Ghana Black Stars jersey that I acquired when I was in Accra a couple of weeks ago covering the Black Stars, the people the fans of the Black Stars, Ghanaians. So today I felt like it was an appropriate day to rock it.
No,
You know,
it looks great, man. We're staying on theme with the red. I'm wearing the American jersey, go USA. As we know, the next World Cup will be here within the North America, right? So we have USA, Canada, and Mexico. Jackson, talk to me about how you think that's going to be.
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. First of all, more teams in the World Cup.
Right.
The populations of these two countries. I know there's gonna be some issues logistically, but I feel like it will be one of the next to Qatar.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very exciting World Cup.
No, I definitely would want any reason or excuse just to go to Mexico anyways. So, if it's for the World Cup, I'm definitely all in. I think it's going to
Absolutely.
be very exciting. But I will say this though, I remember the FIFA head Infantino recently said prior to coming into this Qatar World Cup that they had kind of already knew exactly the setup that they wanted for the new 48 teams for the upcoming World Cup. But having seen what transpired in the group stages with having the four teams in the group stages and like one goal differential, if Saudi Arabia doesn't score against Mexico, they go through, Korea and Uruguay situation happening on goal difference all in real time because the games were being played simultaneously. I think now they said that they're going to reassess the formation on what they were thinking about for that 16, for that 48 team the new World Cup, I guess, structure because,
Yeah.
it really, it's something that when you see that in real time, it's like, what? Do I really
Yeah.
want to change this? This is so exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I'm very excited about the fact that more African teams will be joining. So we'll see more talent from the continent prepare in the next couple of years. In these 4 years leading up to the next World Cup, we expect a lot of investment going into the continent, building infrastructure, developing talent, skills, young players on the continent. I mean, I was in Ghana. I visited a couple of academies, young boys in their in their teens, who most likely will end up playing in the US in 4 years, playing at the World Cup. And you see a lot of talent. These kids were coming from around the continent, mostly West Africa, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria. Many of them attend these academies in Accra. I also visited young women academies. These young ladies, I know that in a couple of months we'll be watching the Women's World Cup in Australia, I believe. So that is also going to be very exciting. But I'm just looking forward to see the talent,
Yeah.
that we have on the continent being represented on a global stage, on a global platform like this, because
Yeah.
we have a lot of it. We just don't have the space to showcase it.
I love that point that you mentioned. The thing about our talent has always been, you know, a lack of resources or maybe not having the right infrastructure to really build our players up. You know what I mean?
Right,
On
right.
the continent. And we've also seen it with the NBA Basketball Africa League now, moving forward and stuff. So it's not that the talent is not there. It's just that you're not able to hone the skills of these younger players. And then they end up leaving, or if their parents, may have migrated to another country, maybe in Europe or America, and then they end up playing there because, that's
Of
just the
France,
style.
I mean, look at the French
Right.
team, which I call the last African team on this World Cup.
Man,
You know,
the France team looked like, if I were to say, an all-star lineup of Africans. You know what I mean? They had so many different players that have a connection to the continent, as did England as well. Really, if we're
and
gonna,
salute to my boy
right,
Mbappe, by the way. I don't know how we
man,
got this far
right.
in this show without talking about
I
Mbappe,
was
man.
I was
The
trying.
man's back must be hurting from carrying that team yesterday.
Man, that was
Bruh.
for a 23-year-old to have to do that type of lifting, Jackson, is unbelievable. Right. First off, let's not even, like, how quick did he score his two goals? Within a minute and 30 seconds, he scored two goals, right? And then he scored another PK in extra time. Then he was still the first player on the French team to take the PK. For,
Penalty. I mean, the pressure.
man,
Imagine being in the pressure.
listen, ice cold water. This kid has ice in his veins, man. He doesn't know what pressure is. This
I'm
kid is
telling you.
different, bro.
I'm telling you,
Man,
built differently. Mbappe, shout out to Mbappe. I can't
100%.
wait to see the kind of player. I mean, he's still young, 23. The
Right.
next World Cup, he'll be 27. I've had people say, his main forte, his main skill is he outruns his
Speed.
competitor. And maybe that he might not have that as the edges, but listen, this kid plays smart soccer. He just has a different sets of skills in one, and you saw it yesterday. He was able to deploy it against a very determined Argentinian team. Argentina came in. Remember in the first half,
Man.
dominated, owned the game, and then Mbappe just came out of nowhere, man.
The very interesting thing you mentioned, Jackson. The first half, everybody, I think, outside of an Argentinian fan maybe that's living in Argentina who didn't want to see a good game, wanted it to end 2-0. Everyone else, even if you're supporting them, you're thinking to yourself, this is very anticlimactic, right? It's like
I know, right? Right.
this has been a
You
World
know
Cup
what?
where we've seen
That's
we
exactly what I thought.
like
I
we've
thought I thought it was gonna be like one of those the game between Uruguay and Ghana that
yeah,
had been building up for 12 years.
right. And
Then
then,
on the day of, they just and I
man,
thought exactly what was about to happen.
I
But man, we in for a surprise.
oh, you know how fast it happened so fast. Somebody could have went to go grab a snack from their fridge, and it scores 2-2. You think your TV's glitching, man? The kid is fast, and to your point, when you're talking about people mentioning that about his pace, right? He definitely, that is one of his main attributes. If I had pace like that, why would I not utilize it? You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
there's a
Especially in that position.
Right,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between having pace and that being the only thing you have. We've seen him numerous times have quality finishing, right? That second goal of his, quality, bro. Like,
Oh,
that was a classy goal, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, you can have all the pace in the world if you're not able to finish, if you're not able to get yourself in the right positions, if you can't get the good reads, or if you don't know how to play with defensive.
Pass,
Right.
yes,
Right,
yes.
right. You have to know, the thing I like about him the most is his pace allows him to let the defense dictate what they want to give him. So he
Yeah.
kind of just lets the ball roll along, and his style of play is very similar to one of my favorite players, who's also a French national, Thierry Henry.
Mm,
He plays very similar to him. Uses
listen,
his
absolutely.
uses his pace. Got the same level of athleticism, if not more. But the kid is only getting better as time progresses, and I think it's time, man. We got to take the captain ban off Loris, and you got to put it on this kid's hand because I don't know what else. What
100%.
what's with the cat? Man, the captain. He
100%. What
how
does the kid need to do? What does
what
he need to
more
do?
does Mbappe have to do to be the what I'm saying to be the guy? And staying on that same point. If we look at Mbappe right at this moment, just check this out. He's tied for number 6 all-time goal scorers for the World Cup with
Wow.
12
At
goals.
20
Listen,
years
with
old.
he 23 years old, 12 goals already. Guess who he's tied with? Pele.
Wow. The legend. The kid.
If that does not tell you
Wow.
what, as long as this kid, what I'm saying, is able to stay injury free, keeps on this same trajectory. He came into the tournament as the number 1 rated player in the world. But now it's like the separation between him and number 2 has just grown drastically. You know what I mean? Throughout the tournament. But to
Yes.
be tied number 6, right? Messi has one more goal than him and has been to 5 World Cups.
And this is Messi's last
And this is
World
Messi's last World Cup. He's if Mbappe plays in the next World Cup, which we assume he's going to,
I'm sure he will.
he has that. But
But can we just say something real quick that,
yes,
I gotta give it up. Not just, I mean, Mbappe was able to carry a team that was less Benzema and
Paul
Pogba.
Pogba and Conte as well, right? So you
And
have 3 of your top, arguably your 3 starters, not on that team, and still,
yeah, yeah, for sure. I
man.
mean, I understand this is a team sport, and the French team did really well. But I feel like, honestly, like I said, Mbappe's back must be hurting from carrying that team.
Absolutely, Jax. We have tons more to talk about, but we'll be right back after this promo. And we're back. As we were saying right before the break, Jackson, we were just going over the World Cup all-time goal scorers, and Mbappe, being exactly where he needs to be, somewhere in the middle of the pack in this marathon. Being his second World Cup, only his second World Cup, making it all the way to the finals
At a very young age.
at the young age of 23. Just to go through the rest of this list, you have Messi tied with Just Fontaine of France for 13. You have Gerd Muller of Germany for 14 goals. You have Ronaldo, R9. Some say the real Ronaldo. I love Cristiano too, so I'll just say Ronaldo from Brazil. With
I
fit.
always, I also call him the real Ronaldo. So,
Oh
FYI.
my goodness, R9, man. He
To
was
the
he
to
was
the
he was different. He was different, man. So he has 15 goals, and then the top of the pack, man, Miroslav Klose, right, from Germany. He
Yes.
has 16 goals, but just to think that, Mbappe was able to get 7. Mbappe was able to get 8 actually, right? Because he came into that final with 5.
Yes.
He was able to get 8 in this World Cup. So if he gets anywhere near that number, if he's able to he just needs 3 to tie it, and
Yes.
he just needs
Well, on top.
four
Yeah.
to go on top for the next World Cup. Man, that's amazing. You're in the history books forever with that one,
Read
right?
the history books,
Yeah,
and he's going to be, yeah, again, injury free. This kid is going to just be amazing.
yeah.
He's a wonderful player, brilliant. His football IQ, soccer IQ is impeccable at his age. I remember when he made his debut, he just played different. Like, for me, he played like a different player altogether, very well rounded.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe age will wear him off, and maybe he will have injuries and stuff. But he's just progressively gotten better and better,
Yeah.
and that's what you want a player to be.
Now I have a question to pose to you since we've done all this Mbappe because he's gonna be with PSG for some time now. We
Yeah.
believe. I know President Macron doesn't want to let him go, as he's mentioned to us, right? But where does Messi go from here, Jackson? What
Ah,
coming into the tournament? He has some offers from some teams in the MLS. People are thinking he doesn't have it anymore to be able to play on a high level in Europe anymore. Where does he go now, knowing that he is still, in this very moment, the best player in the world on the best team in the country, I should say national side in the world in Argentina? Where does he go?
the one player they always mention Messi with is Ronaldo, the other Ronaldo.
Hmm.
Who they say is now going to most likely might likely go to Saudi Arabia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He
So
is going
he
to a.
might base his decision on where Ronaldo goes. Uh, It's going for bigger markets,
Yeah.
and the other bigger market will be the US. Major
Mm,
here. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? I feel like given that in the next 4 years the World Cup is coming here, the US is going to invest a lot of money. The US teams are going to invest a lot of money in acquiring a lot of some of these talents,
Yeah.
but also building the profile of their teams and soccer as a whole. So they might go for those big fish. For Messi, I feel like he feels like he has done what he needs to do to prove he's the GOAT,
Hmm.
and he's still the GOAT for now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at this point, chase the money, go for the cash.
I definitely agree that there's definitely something to that, knowing that he could also be that factor to anchor in this new age of you don't come to the MLS when you no longer can play in Europe, right? There has always been that stigma with European players that have played elite in Europe and then come to America and play in the MLS on their almost their dying legs, right? They
Yes.
barely can walk, and then they're
Yeah.
still out here scoring goals, and then Ibrahimovic scores goals, and then what? He goes back to Europe and he's reminded he can't play really,
Right.
you know. So for Messi
I
to,
think that dynamic is about to change.
yeah,
That dynamic is about to change, especially because of the World Cup, the next World Cup.
yeah, no, I definitely would agree. I think yeah, the U.S. definitely has that market share power, to be able to incentivize to a player of Messi's caliber. Hey, come over here and play for, I don't know, Inter Miami maybe. He already has a home down there. He really likes the Miami culture.
Mhm.
So if he does that, it would
Whether,
it would. Oh, weather. Who are you
yeah.
telling? Can I go to Miami right now? Like it's so cold in DC, right?
But
But
I mean, he might end up in DC too. A very big market, by the way. Don't overlook this market.
yeah, no, no,
You know,
I definitely think there's endless possibilities for the teams.
maybe we should start a campaign
A
to get
campaign,
Messi to DC.
bring Messi to DC. I seen him
Yeah.
with the Washington Wizards jersey. Actually, I don't know who gave it to him. Where did he get it from?
I
But
think
it,
that. See, maybe he has a soft spot for this for DC. Messi
we need
DC
it.
hashtag. So
We
if you're watching this,
we need it. Hashtag Messi to DC. I like it. But Jax, let's try to talk about some of these African teams. As we've seen, we had 5 African teams in the tournament. Morocco was the Cinderella of the tournament, who captured all the hearts of the entire world. Really.
so
And,
I should be wearing the Morocco jersey when I
yeah.
think about
Right.
what they have done
Yeah.
for the continent.
Hmm.
Not just the Arab world,
Right.
but Africa, just bringing together these two, group, people,
Hmm.
everybody. It's just I think that the story of Morocco,
Yeah.
honestly, is what World Cup is about.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think that it transcended, even like you said, countries and even people. You had people that had no affiliation to either Africa or Arab culture, really, that still really saw, that Cinderella-like story and enjoyed what the Moroccans were doing when they would win, how they would celebrate with their mothers. It was
Oh,
man, it was so joyous to watch them.
watch,
and
just
then and then them also being humble in defeat too, right? It was like it takes a different type of winner, that can really lose and take it respectfully,
gracious. Yeah.
sportsman-like. You saw.
Especially in this day and age of
Right.
social media, where with the fake bravados and
Hmm.
stuff, where people lose and they're like, "Oh, we need to stop the count," or what,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
honestly, these kids shout out to them. You can tell even the relationship
with them,
they have with their mothers. Maybe that
man,
has something to say with how humble they've been.
man.
But honestly, hats off to Morocco. Thank you for a great World Cup experience.
100%. I definitely agree with those sentiments, man. But I'm now just so excited. Can we fast forward, Jackson? Four
Yes,
years
sir.
already, just so we can get to
Let's go
2026.
forward.
Let's just go there and see what the World Cup in North America is gonna hold. I think um, there's some heavy hitting teams, man, from the African continent that I feel like definitely need to be in it. I think Senegal would have been a different team with Sadio Mane. He would have definitely helped them in that England match for sure. But kudos to them. Getting out of that group stage is not easy when you lose a top 10 caliber player, right? They had him listed as the 10th player in the world, ESPN, when the tournament had
I
started.
think I didn't think they were going to do any better than what they did. Honestly, I gotta give a shout out to their coach,
Ali
and
Cisse.
talk about the fact that most of the coaches, the coaching staff
Yeah.
for teams were continent people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? For the first time, but Senegal to be able to pull off, to do as well as they did without their star player Sadio Mane,
Huge.
huge,
Yeah, man.
huge, huge. Cameroon, you gotta talk about
Oh
Cameroon.
my goodness, where do we start? Like
Yeah.
I was talking earlier today, actually, about the fact that Mbappe is half Cameroonian. Imagine,
Yes.
imagine Cameroon with Choupo Moting and
Yes.
Mbappe up front
Oh yes.
with Abu Bakar.
That would be fire, bro.
Maybe Morocco has incentivized some of our French brothers to come on over back to the continent. Get some of these guys on these teams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, those would be dream teams. I
man.
mean, honestly, if Africa had, we didn't lose all our high caliber players to the other continents. I mean, you can tell that the people that actually play the best soccer
Yeah,
are coming from the continent,
yeah,
really.
yeah. No,
But
no.
yeah, so looking forward 5 years, I mean, 4 years from now, how are the African teams? Which African teams are going to do well? I think Cameroon is going to be one of those teams that is going to surprise people.
Right.
You know, the
Yeah,
caliber players, the young players that are on the team. Senegal too. You're right about that.
yeah.
But let's not forget the Black Stars.
Oh no, no, no.
Stars,
Mohamed Kudus is my favorite player in the
yeah,
tournament.
my boy.
How can I forget the Black
Yes,
Stars? From Ghana. When every time that kid touches the ball, it's magic.
yes,
He also was doing some very heavy lifting, similar to Mbappe.
absolutely, absolutely.
We got to get him some help, guys.
Yes.
He definitely did some heavy lifting. But honestly, the five teams that we had in the tournament this year, excellent. They've all can hold their heads held up high. They all had different instances and moments of greatness. Tunisia beating France, right? Cameroon beating Brazil, right? Senegal coming out of their group. Morocco, the story you already know. You know what I mean? So it's like literally every single team that stepped up. Ghana, we're talking about it. Moments of just greatness. Where you thought Portugal game should have easily changed. It should have been a different outcome had that
Yeah.
penalty not been awarded early. But so many different things that these African teams have shown us that they can really play. They didn't have that level of like fear where you're playing the competition. They were playing up to part, and sometimes they had moments.
The
They
caliber of
yeah.
soccer has changed on the continent, and let the world watch out in the next 4 years if we can tell from this World Cup, we are seeing a whole different group of players that are playing matching
Right.
match by match
Right.
with European players.
I'm right there with you, Jackson. Definitely, it has been great. We can definitely talk for another hour or so, but unfortunately, we are out of time. This has been On Goal with Sonny and Mukbil, but I've had my main man, Jackson, with me. It's been a pleasure. This will be wrapping us up for our podcast session, but this will not be the end from when you will be hearing from us, guys. It has been amazing. You all have a great one.